The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed on the Slandering Table are for entertainment purposes. The following conversations are candid conversations amongst friends and guests of the show.
We never intend to offend any people, communities, or organizations. We're simply here to have a dialogue.
And if any of these thoughts, views, or opinions expressed on the Slandering Table hurt your feelings, we recommend you find a different podcast to listen to. Viewer discretion advised. And of course, enjoy the show.
They say that I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Thoughts wild, losing all control.
Weppy.
Keep saying I'm crazy.
Squires, you know you gotta kick this shit off in Connecticut, right?
My soul.
Listen up, cause I am back. The Iron Giant in my kind of rap. The living proof, I'm the truth, no denying that. In a game full of spooks like Spinal Tap. Hold up, where's Squires at?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Slandering Table. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Yeah.
We bet.
See what it's like right here now, though, too.
Why is there a pile of dirt right there?
That's what I was saying.
Please.
I don't know. I tried to clean.
yeah.
It wasn't there before, but now.
Just try not to hit it.
Is that Sugar Booger?
You want me to get a paper towel?
No, you're good.
All right.
This is your house. We're the guests.
Well,
Yeah.
we could have cleaned it. I forgot to clean the table yesterday.
Oh, you kept it? All right.
Just a little bit.
Just
Onto the carpet.
Don't get back.
yes, like you just heard, in his house, right? Who is this man, you're asking? Some of you may know him. Some of you may not. But believe it or not, this is his first time, his first appearance on the Slandering Table. Usually he's in his office listening to us scream and go about and go on about whatever we be talking about. But this time we got him in front of the camera. I'm not going to introduce him. I'll let him introduce himself. State your name and your credentials, sir.
Wow. This is an FBI arrest right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta say you. This is how you conduct an
I'll-
interview.
All right, I'll
Which
give
one of you is the guys that walk out?
All right,
should
so
walk out
He
like
said
that?
you guys are terrible.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Put some respect
What
on my
does this
name.
say? This is
Yeah.
an interview. Hi, my
Yeah.
name's Ian. I'm a guest of the Slandering Table. Nice to meet you guys.
So this is
I've been sober for 6 months.
okay.
So, congrats.
Yeah, no, that's yeah. We can clap to that.
That's a good credential. You know, usually when people
I
are
haven't
like,
actually been sober. But
all
like,
right,
just fucking
okay.
around. This feels
Starting
like
off
a
with
group
lies.
meeting.
Okay.
This is an AA meeting, yeah.
he was really leaning into the bait. He was drinking water. I'm like, oh, there you go, cleansing his system.
Don't let him conduct interviews going forward.
Gotcha.
You know, with
Gotcha.
AA.
I got you.
We try to let JP do it, but he
yeah.
just stutters.
I
so.
would let JP handle it.
This gentleman right here, his name is Ian Bick. He I've known him for quite a while, probably maybe 10 years. I feel like we were more like tier 4, but I met him through his former ownership of the venue Tuxedo Junction in Danbury, Connecticut.
What's tier 4 mean?
Tier 4,
Yeah. He hasn't
He
been
doesn't
here.
watch
Like,
the pod,
yeah.
It's
Wait, have to watch the pod.
there's like a friendship tier that I coined. It's like, there's tiers to friendship. You know how you have some friends that are closer than others. Tier 4 is like a that's my guy. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So
Like, like the ratings like S class, A class, B class.
So-
it's in that sense, but like it's his own
So
spin
I'm
on
D
it.
class, basically.
well, no, I'd say
When you put it like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
C plus,
it
like
doesn't
C mi-
sound good.
a C.
You
You're a
might be
solid
C
C,
tier.
yeah.
You're C tier.
Doesn't
but
sound too good.
Ian is former owner of Tuxedo Junction, current owner of and curator and host of his own podcast, the Locked In podcast with Ian Bick. I'm sure you guys have seen some of his clips on the internet surfacing in the viral airwaves of the internet. You want to tell us a little something about Locked In? Tell us a little something about Tuxedo. Give us a little quick origin story of
what got you
Ian
started?
Bick.
What got you started?
Talk your shit, man.
I mean, when I was 18, I owned a club called Tuxedo Junction in Danbury, Connecticut. We had like EDM acts like Steve Aoki, the Chainsmokers, and then we had hip hop like Tyga, Big Sean, 21 Savage.
Okay.
And then ultimately ended up going to prison for 3 years. Got out, worked at Whole Foods for a few years, and then got the idea from our mutual friend Mike Squires to go on TikTok
Shout out to Squires.
and start telling my story about prison. And my 5th video ended up going viral, and then that launched kind of my social media career. And I turned it into a podcast where I interview people that went to prison. and their stories and their war stories and how they overcame it. And then that evolved into interviewing people that went through addiction and overcame that and just trauma in general. And then got the studio last September and have kept building and building. And now it's like kind of where we're at now. Mike's coming Sunday to like film a promo video of it. And like it's finally like it's done now. I mean, since you guys have been coming here, we've changed this setup like multiple times. And now we got it to a good place that we like it.
What's up? And then like locked in is just a play on words because you're interviewing people that's been locked in.
People that were people that were locked in.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
locked in and stuff like that. So
Double entendre.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
hard because
okay.
you're in a world where there's millions of podcasts. You know, it's hard to stand out. And when you search locked in, when I first started, there was tons of locked in things, sports podcasts, this and that. Now when you search it, like it pops up.
You
with
monopolize
my
the name.
podcast. Yeah,
essentially.
and I mean, and my name carries weight now too with just like the brand and building it and stuff, which is it was cool to see it all come together. But now it's a business. You know, very few podcasts could become a business, and it's a full-time gig.
Okay. So do you feel like so what is your, I don't know if you want to put it out there on camera as like kind of a manifestation thing to look back on this video and be like, wow, I really put it out there and made it happen. But like, what is the end goal for Ian Bick? Like, where are you trying to go with it? Are you trying to just continue to, grow the podcast and make it like one of the biggest podcasts around? Are you trying to transition into directing or something? Like, what's the goal?
I mean, growth is always important in this business, but if it stayed the same way it's been now for the rest of my life, like I'm fine with that too. I'm content with the numbers and what it's doing and whatnot, but it continues to grow. I remember a year ago starting, it was a struggle to get 1,000 listeners. Now we have 300,000 a month. So it just, to see that growth and what the YouTube does. And, you look at it now, it's like not every video is going to be a banger. Like you put out good content and you do the videos that you want to do and interview the people you want to interview. And some will be slower than others, but you just keep building and building and see where it goes. And now I'm working on the studio business right here and building that up.
So would you say that like short clips on like TikTok and YouTube are like what really helped kick off the growth of the podcast?
Yeah, I mean, I owe my success to two things. One is the shorts and the clips. And then number two is a thing that's missing on your podcast, which is your,
Oh shit!
your mic logo boxes, which I've been telling you about for months.
That is true.
That's the cheapest and best investment you're ever going to make because you look at the Rikers Island prison guard that went viral. 18 million people saw that clip, almost 20 million now. And guess what's in that clip? Locked in with Ian Bick. Everyone goes and searches, what is this guy on?
Yeah.
So the power of those boxes is life-changing. Audio is the hardest thing to build. YouTube is hard, but audio is harder. And audio is like a gold mine once you get into it because that doesn't go away based on an algorithm. Like, TikTok could push your stuff out or don't. Even YouTube's kind of like that, even though YouTube's a little more consistent. But audio, if you have 20,000 listeners, that doesn't just disappear overnight. Unless you're like canceled or something.
Right.
And you would have to do something outrageous to lose all of those listeners. But that just continues to climb, and that's your bread and butter. That's what you're selling to people. Those are people that are literally locked into what you're selling and interviewing. Those are so hard to earn a follower. So building that, and that's why most podcasts, like they have 100 listeners, 100 whatever. And those are good numbers too. Like when you told me your numbers, like it sounds small, but that's a great number compared to people that are just starting out because it's so hard to get that audio listener because it's a world of millions of podcasts. So my success on building those audio listeners are 100% from the clips.
Okay. And so that brings me to the topic we will be discussing as a table today, and you could set it off because obviously you're already on the roll. Do we feel like content creation, people trying to become content creators as a career, is become an oversaturated market? Because I mean, even a lot of these kids nowadays, like they don't want to go to school, they don't want to learn a trade. They're like, I want to get on YouTube, get a ring light, and pursue content creation with no specific talents even. Like, it's not, some of these people aren't even artists. They're not, doing skits or comedic work or anything. They're just, I want to be an influencer or content creator, whatever that means, right? So do we feel like, do we feel like the market's oversaturated as far as that goes? Anybody could.
I mean, I would say we don't
have to raise our hands. We're not. Yeah.
Nah, I would definitely say yeah because look at one of the biggest content creators, Kai Cenat. You know, he doesn't really have that much of a talent. He's just more of an entertainer, like, you know, in the sense of like Kevin Hart and stuff like that. So he's just doing what he does, which is also playing video games, but he's also being entertained because he's also funny too.
I feel like Kai stopped playing video games years ago.
I mean, he just played Elden Ring and he's been doing like 100 plus.
JP be watching Kai.
No, He's
a Kai.
You're one of the chat niggas.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's just I just put it like just for background noise and stuff like that. But
on Twitch, he's on Twitch, right?
Yeah, he's on Twitch. Yeah, so he'll do like 100 plus, like playing Red Dead or playing Elden Rings and stuff like that, and he'll just go through it until he beats it. And then during those downtimes, he'll just do random stuff. Like recently, he was with Kevin Hart just
last night.
Yeah, and they were just having a blast and stuff like that.
The fact that you say that, I feel like Kai is an innovator in the live stream space because he is the real life iCarly. Like, people usually are sitting down at their desk and they're playing a game or they're like whatever, but he made like his streams like an experience you got to tune in and watch. Like, he does these like, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe what he does. He'll have like samurai, like people come in and making sushi and stuff in his house, in his room, and it all takes place in his room. Like, he like really makes it like an experience. So like, he's very innovative in what he's done, but most people that are content creators, I feel like, aren't Kai Cenat. They're not trying to push the boundaries and like the limits of what you can do in a stream. They're just like, they see other people doing this. And also, I feel like if you ask a lot of content creators, like, is this feeding you? If you peek behind the curtain, it might not be what it seems to be.
Like,
you
all
know,
sunshines and rainbows.
Right, yeah.
Know?
Like, you know, it might look like, oh, yeah, he's living off this. He's rich, XYZ. But, you know, not everybody is like making a living off of what they do on the internet.
I mean, a lot of it's fake, too. And you look at the people that are like influencers, all you have to do is look at their views and you can kind of see what they're making. And if they don't have a substantial amount of views and they're doing like brand deals or whatever, they're not actually doing brand deals. They probably got shipped some free product and they're trying to push promo codes. And a lot of these like female influencers and whatnot, they're getting invited by the bigger league influencers, by the men, and they're paying for their food in the restaurants and that. These girls have, or the men that are doing it too, they don't have money. They don't have a real legitimate business. Maybe they hit it off on a couple videos on TikTok or Instagram, but here's the biggest telltale sign if someone's making real legit money. It's easy to get millions of followers on TikTok because of the algorithm. Go to their link in their bio and go to their YouTube channel, because I guarantee you that they tried to launch a podcast or something. Their YouTube is not successful. There's very few influencers that can have a successful YouTube. Alex Earl has pulled it off, people like that, obviously. But most of these influencers can't do that. The gym ones, so they rely just on social media money, which is unsustainable.
Why do you think it's hard for people to like make that transition? Like, if you're popular on Instagram, and I've noticed this too, like if you're popular on one platform, it's hard to get people to be like, oh, look, I have a gaming channel now. I have this, that, and the third. Like, people are more hesitant to like follow them on multiple platforms and really become a fan. Why do you think that is?
I think they're building it the wrong way. Like, I built my platform on multi-platforms, not by pushing another platform on one of my platforms. Like, you'll never see me go on TikTok and say, go follow me on Instagram. If I'm doing it on a live, that's completely different, but it's organic. Like, you'll see, because TikTok links your Instagram and your YouTube. So when something goes viral, people are automatically going to follow you. But I've built each of my platforms just with shorts and reels. When I first started out, my same TikTok would go on my YouTube, my Snapchat, my Instagram, and my Facebook. So now I have 120,000 on Facebook. I have, 250,000 on YouTube and almost 60,000 on Instagram and then almost 800,000 on TikTok. And that was all built organically on their own. And a lot of people aren't doing that because it's hard work. I maxed out my credit cards to live off of just building content that first 4 months. And I took a huge risk to do that. And not everyone's willing to do that. When I first started out, I was just in my car making videos. And the problem is a lot of these people are just making the same content everyone else is doing. If you go on your Instagram for real For You page, it's all men fitness creators and women fitness creators posting the same shit and the same moves. Yeah, they get some views, great, or they bought followers or whatever. But do these people have a business? No. Are they doing anything? No. It's just, and a lot of these people are working regular jobs.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just the question is if it's sustainable as that being their full-time gig, and the answer is no, because it's a certain level of work that it takes. You have to be all in this space.
I feel like people see followings. So like if you have like 1 million followers on Instagram, I feel like a lot of people see that as the currency. It's like, well, I have followers, but it's like, how are you directing that into actually making revenue or capitalizing off of it so that you could like live off of that?
Well, that's interesting because Instagram just came out with an article saying they're not looking at followers anymore. They're looking at engagement on your reels, not on your posts, because that could be bought. Even your reels can be bought, like the views, which a lot of people do. Yeah, a lot of bots. If you just look at the comments and if people are doing the wavy sign or any of those things, you know someone's a bot. I could call them out. You put anyone in front of me, like I'll tell you if they have bots, if they have I'm a 6-figure earner or a rocket ship in their bio or any of this stupid shit.
Yeah.
And they have hundreds of thousands of followers, and you look at their reels and their reels get a couple of views. Like if you go to my page, I have almost 60,000 followers, and my reels are getting 200 or 300,000 views. That's great engagement on that, on the good clips, because it's just producing good content and putting it out there. But brands don't care about your Instagram anymore because so many people have it. They're looking at your YouTube. YouTube is the most, if you say you have this many followers on your YouTube, that means something. Not 1 million people on it, not 1 million followers on Instagram. Because you could be a hot girl with some nice tits and post, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's crazy, you know?
You need that YouTube plaque, you know, so you know it's real, you feel me?
No, I'm serious. That's what, but even those you could buy. People buy YouTube plaques.
You can buy one, but like...
Yeah.
But like they'll know, like if you got 200 subscribers and you have a
100K, 100K.
100K plaque right behind you, like, I do this.
Another thing about your pod, I feel like you found, and you're fortunate enough to do that, a lot of people don't, right? And I feel like even now with us, I wonder, I think people like what we do, but like, I don't know if we have a niche. We're the Slandering Table. So like, one episode could be like talking about, more existential conversation about life in general, or the next episode could be about Kendrick and Drake, and the next episode could be about bitches. So like, do you feel like, well, to what I was saying, you found your niche early, right? Do you feel like niching down is a key to like quicker growth for people who with podcasts? Or
I mean, I would dive into niche after you are 100% sure that you're doing all the right steps. And what I mean by right steps is never missing an episode for 6 months to a year, making sure you're using the same titles on both audio and YouTube, making sure you have appropriate thumbnails on YouTube that stand out, making sure you have the mic boxes, making sure you have good high quality clips.
Right.
Making sure that, and that's what I'll tell people, like when I sit down with them for clients and stuff. And if you're doing all these things and you're not missing a day for those 6 to 12 months and it's still not working, then you look at the content.
Oh, you do consulting too?
I do all of that. I have
What
clients.
are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I mean,
what are we doing?
I'm not going to charge you guys to consult.
yeah,
but,
I've been picking up.
Right, yeah.
I've been picking up gems from Ian since we started doing this. Like high key, that's why. That's one of the reasons I've gotten better at like getting the clips for like the podcast, because like I listen to
your inspiration.
I mean, I'm not
I
trying to glaze you. I'm not trying to glaze you. I'm not trying to suck you, my boy. But like, you know what I'm saying?
Like, what do you put into it though? You know, like,
that's what I'm saying, and it's admirable because like, you know what I mean? Like, if you were to look back at your life 5 years ago, you were probably sitting there in the cell like, well, this.
Oh,
you
you
know
were
what
in jail
I'm saying?
5 years ago?
2019, bro. I
Oh,
look
okay,
at it
yeah.
just.
Oh, I was saying a year. There you go.
I look at it just a week ago. Like my life was so different even a week ago. Like so much has happened just in the past week, you know, because this business, like anything, you'll never know what kind of offer you could get or what can happen or that one day that your whole life can change, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a constant grind and you just have to, you got to put everything into it, you know? Like when you say like, when someone comes to me and says like about their podcasting, it's not working or anything, I'll look at those steps and automatically like a Zoom thing right off the bat. Like I don't believe in the Zoom
style
stuff.
podcasts,
Yeah.
We're out of 2020 at this point. Like,
Yeah, those worked. And if you're a celebrity like Trevor Noah gets away with it, he can get millions of views because he has Spotify pushing him. But if you're brand new and you want to start a podcast, you can't use Zoom if you want to stand out. If I use Zoom, my thing worked because people in my field were all using Zoom on YouTube. And I did it differently. So you have a high quality, you probably look at all the guys that are on your level that do in your field that are doing podcasts, the quality is not as good as your guys' stuff.
Oh yeah, facts. We sound better. We look better.
And
We're funnier.
And the price is a
dress better.
fraction.
Yeah.
These other studios are charging. That's something that we're doing here is we're beating out the competition. From editing, from studio time. You can't get a studio like this in New York City is $300 or $400 just for the rental, not even editing or anything like that. So it's just it's a whole different ball game.
Saying on a golden goose, and we gotta take advantage of it.
Yeah,
Honestly.
for sure.
Like, really.
But it's just making those, and also like not talking over each other. Like you guys are killing it right now. No, you guys are doing good now. But there's some episodes where you guys are all shouting. That as a listener, that's an automatic turnoff. You know, because if you have an interesting guest, and also using guests to help build your following too.
Oh yeah, we're definitely using you. Yeah.
We're milking the cow right now.
Yeah, no, but using guests,
golden teat.
using guests to help build your following is crucial too. Is what I've learned. I built my platform off of guests. Like I went into my podcast knowing it wasn't going to be about me because it wasn't sustainable to just be about me, and that's where influencers go wrong. If you're a fitness girl with 300,000 followers on your Instagram, what the fuck are you going to talk about every single week that is relatable besides updates in your life that everyone else is already doing
Right.
on a podcast?
You got beef with the fitness girls.
Yeah. He hates them. Yeah.
It's not that. It's
He
not.
hates them
It's
gym
not against
shorties.
that. It's just like it's frustrating just to see all that, and it's not out of jealousy because I have my own thing. It's just like what the image it's creating for other people.
Right.
And I think it holds people back on what they're doing. Like I have a platform and I have what I have, and that's great. But other people get sidetracked by seeing these types of people, and it's not just women; it's men too. It's the men ones and the women ones.
Right.
So you have to be different. That's for sure. And the slandering table is different. You guys do what you do. No, you.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a compliment.
I don't listen,
I
but
feel like you guys, your angle could be just debating the hard questions. Like I've listened to some of your guys' topics, and like you guys have a debate when no one's walking out of the podcast. You guys have good things.
I'll have it come out first. I'm
just kidding. I gotta shoot my shot. But listen, I'm just saying.
But even that is like, you could use that for.
I just think if you're engaging and you're contentious and stirring the debate about things like that, those will be the moments, provided no one's interrupting each other.
Right.
I think that's the best thing.
The success we've seen from like certain clips and stuff like from our podcast, and even like the one that we just dropped yesterday, it's like it's been really. I was just telling them like it's been really climbing because like we're talking about like the whole Kendrick and Drake thing. All the clips that do get the most engagement are the divisive topics, like like the ones where somebody's
Nicki.
saying some wild shit. Yeah, there was a clip of me talking about how Nicki Minaj is overrated essentially, and like people were coming at me, "You're fucking ugly. Who the fuck are you? You look like you have Down syndrome, et cetera, et cetera."
You spooked yourself out of it, though.
I guess, yeah.
Wow.
But like, I took it off private because I think we talked about it. I was like, I just didn't want that clip to be the one where, because like, what if Nicki Minaj sees it and it's like, damn, we just.
Who cares? That's what.
that's-
man. Get your shit.
That's fair.
just
That's
play it
fair.
up, play
But
it
it's
up.
like
Nothing's off limits in the content creation. Like I'll do some things like editing for people and they want to cut this, cut that. That's the cool thing about my podcast. I never cut anything. It's always raw and organic.
Right.
And that goes a long
For the most
way.
part, that's what we do too.
Yeah,
like,
and I think if you have more women too, that'll help. That you can get them to have an intellectual debate with you, and they're attractive too. If you have that conversation, I think that'll help as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Lacking in the woman department.
No,
yeah.
we already
the attractive
debunked
woman
this.
department.
We debunked this. We had an even amount of men and women on the pod so far.
It was very
This season we haven't. I mean, this is our third episode of the season.
Yeah.
So,
So it's
I
the
would
sausage
100%
fest
have more
season.
women. Yeah, I would have more women.
if you got some women with interesting thoughts and opinions, please throw them our way.
I mean, you guys didn't know people. You had a couple girls on here before and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Speaking
It
of,
was attractive, right?
The what?
They were attractive, right?
Oh man, what are you trying to?
You thought they looked good?
Yeah.
No, you had a couple ones. Yeah,
Yeah, a couple things.
Yeah.
Did Star ever?
Yeah, she
reach out
texted me the other day, but I gave her the price. She never hit me back. So.
What are your thoughts on people wanting
I don't
to be
think
content
anybody at
creators?
the table actually answered the initial question.
I mean, we
I-
kind of did.
Yeah,
JP did.
yeah.
I do
Ian
think there is
aggressive.
an influx of like content like especially kids, right? So I would say there's just an oversaturation.
Let me go into details. Like,
I just think everybody's trying to do excuse me, the same thing now, and it kind of waters down. It's like the I rap now ass niggas, so it's like if everybody like when everyone's super, nobody is kind of thing, you know what I mean? So it kind of waters down the
like the rare talents.
I
and,
think
like,
the problem is. I'm glad you just said that word.
yeah.
The problem is, like I just said, these people, a lot of them, they don't have talents. It's
I wouldn't say that.
no, because being an influencer is a bullshit term. I'm gonna say it.
Yeah.
Being an
Here it goes,
influencer
Yeah,
is
do it.
nonsense. That doesn't even make. What are you influencing? I'm sure you're influencing a 13-year-old sitting in his living room somewhere to what? Lift the fucking dumbbell. I'm gonna jump on Ian's wave about the whole gym content creators. Like, yeah, like. Some of those people are helpful, right? They could give you different techniques on how to work out, things that are more conducive for a better build, or you want to get lean, this is what you should do to do it, or you want to bulk up, here's a diet that you should follow to like get bigger. But like a lot of people are just like, hey, what's up, guys? Like he said, so-and-so sent me some flat tummy tea and this is what I'm, you know what I mean? It's like, but what do you do? What do you do? Like, are you a singer? Are you an artist, a painter? Are you a comedian? Like, I respect content creators like that more because you have content. This is content. What is your purpose? What do you do? I make content to make people laugh. I make content. It's music, so I want people to listen to my music, like whatever it is. A lot of these people are just like, they have this title of influencer, and they have these influencer houses where people that all have no talent live together and like collectively do not have talent together under the same roof. And so it's like confusing. It's like, and I don't know, kids are growing up and they're seeing this and they're like, this is what I want to do, essentially. I want to get paid and be famous to do nothing. I don't want to hone any craft. I don't want to I don't want to learn a skill and get known for said skill. I just want to be famous. And I just don't respect that as much.
I mean, I don't think you need talent though.
You don't.
It's not
you
a
don't
talent
need
thing.
talent.
Yeah.
You don't
Look
need
at
talent.
OnlyFans girls. It's not a talent to,
Oh, brother. Yeah.
to
I mean, it's wrong though.
It's not wrong.
Yeah.
What, OnlyFans?
Oh, funny.
no.
All right. Yeah. Here's a fun
Can we-
fact.
No,
no, yeah.
I'll let you get back
go
into
ahead.
that. Here's a fun fact about OnlyFans, actually. So, for our listeners who don't know, we live in Connecticut. Turns out Stanford Advocate just made an article about this. We have the most OnlyFans content creators of any state in America. And specifically in the New Haven area, we have like a dense population of OnlyFans creators.
It's like New Haven and Hartford, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, but that's not Fairfield County.
Random
you know what I
fun
mean?
fact.
I
That's
mean, it's not.
like that ain't down here. That's them 860 hoes.
Is New Haven not Fairfield County?
It's like its own thing. It's like New Haven area. Like it's not Fairfield County essentially. It's not.
Well, yeah, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, OnlyFans, like, girls, like, yeah, they create content, but like, what are you doing on your OnlyFans?
Yeah, but
What do you think?
I think it's
Yeah.
more
Come on
about when you separate people on content creation, is it if they're consistent and hardworking versus are they talented or not? Because it didn't take talent for me to go in front of a camera and tell prison stories.
But Ian,
That was just drive and
I think
hard
it
work.
does though.
you do have a certain talent. It might not be a do it, and like in the way where like Kayshawn can draw. If I tell him go do this, show me your talent, he could show me physically. I can rap. I can show you that physically. Like you might not have a talent in the way where it's like do this and you show me your talent, but I see that you have talent just by the way that everything you just described. You just essentially you're a one-man show. You built your platform by yourself,
All right,
correct?
so maybe it's more personality versus no personality. Because personality is
Personality
the key to
sells for
success.
sure. Yeah,
You need the personality.
right.
I just don't know if it needs to be. I feel like anyone could learn. You know, so that's why talent is not everyone can learn how to play on a pro level of football or basketball or on a sports level. Not anyone could just learn that. That's a talent. Not everyone can sing. You know,
That's fair.
so I think that's just a little bit different. I think you have to have personality, and these content creators have no personality that are trying to be. That would be the better terminology. You know,
Like, I feel like they put like an alter ego too. You know, like they try to become a showman.
I told you that shit is fake.
Yo, it
Everybody
really is,
plays it up
because they
when
know
a camera's
they
in
know,
their
They
face.
know the shortest way to get to fame is to like take shortcuts, do the extreme, like just really stand out to the point where like this is not something that they're not actually comfortable doing, but it's just something that they do. I forgot there was a YouTuber. I think his name was like Shees or something like that. He used to like perform. He performed the Not Like Us like in public.
Oh,
He made a
okay.
video saying that he created that alter ego persona just to like get his content out, just to like stand out, be different and stuff like that. But he said eventually he did lose himself.
that's like what's her name?
Oh my goodness, yeah. Why are there so many people faking their
What's her name?
themselves?
Fucking Bobbi.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, she's totally different. But also, you look at like I've had like women with big followings slide in my DMs, and they are nothing like what they are online.
What they
They
portray.
don't look the same. They don't act the same. They're it's just completely different.
Yeah.
It's concerning because I feel like in a way we're kind of promoting faking who you are. I mean, the internet's been like that for years. I mean, people portray a different person on the internet all the time than who
Would
they
you call
are in
it
person.
cosplaying? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's cosplaying.
But
all
like
of it.
I feel like if we're seeing like Bobbi, like she's not like how she. I feel like like in her newer interviews now, she's starting to like show her actual personality. But like her whole claim to fame was her being the awkward white girl who just asked questions and pretended to not know guess. And it's like okay, but like
I'm lost at how she blew up or successful.
one of her first interviews was with Drake, and that's all it needs.
But that was planted. Like it was literally.
She's a plant.
Not a plan.
She had a huge. It was literally the industry. She had a huge TikTok following, which so many people have.
Like prior to her.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What was her like? Why were people following her in the first place?
Because of COVID, like said she got a huge following, like a lot of people did during COVID. She was either dancing or doing whatever, and I guarantee you, one of these big agencies saw her and said, "Hey, let's give you a podcast. We'll connect the dots."
Yeah.
But anyone that starts on their own is not going to get that level, and that's why it's considered a plant.
Right.
Like on that level, like what I built, no one handed to me.
Right.
Like I don't have an agent. I don't do any of that. It's through hard work. It's not just handed overnight. That's what she was given. She was literally given a podcast overnight. And she's a terrible interviewer, and the podcast is terrible. I'm just saying that's the truth.
And she's fucking
I
trash.
have no respect for her as a podcaster because it's not a legitimate thing. That was literally handed to her. And you give anyone, you sit any one of you guys in a room with any of these people, it's going to blow up. Even more so if you're
We
a
need
woman.
to get her ass. Yeah. That's who we need.
Yeah.
And you.
Bobbi versus the Slandering Table.
No, it's just, but that's the truth of it. You know, like that was it. That was not, I respect the people that built it from the bottom.
Right.
And maybe you could look at her backstory and maybe she was built from the bottom from the TikTok. She built the TikTok, then got handed that big break. We'll give her credit on that one. But as a podcaster, she hasn't evolved. She hasn't. It's the same shit, you know.
Yeah, because I mind you, I could be a hypocrite. I'm sure there are going to be people in the comments like, y'all don't even watch Bobbi. But like, I don't watch her podcast. I did watch the one with Drake, but that's when she was still doing her like weird girl thing. But it's not even like, it's not an interview. It's not a conversation, really.
Yeah.
It's just like,
A
so
dialogue.
you made a song called Hotline Bling, I hear? What's that about? It's like, what is this? It's
That's why I respect Call Her Daddy. No matter what, if you want to talk shit or not about her, she built it from the bottom.
Who's that?
Alex Cooper from Call Her Daddy.
okay.
She started
They're
at
like
Barstool.
the biggest podcast right
Yeah,
now.
literally built it from the bottom. Same with Joe Rogan. What he put out, 2,000 episodes, 1,500 episodes before.
And he's been doing it before podcasting was even
before he got his break. Those are the people you got to respect, not the people that had huge, massive followings or an agency. Like, look at Trevor Noah was given a podcast by Spotify. He didn't build that from the ground. All these celebrities get handed, you know, because that's the thing.
So I was going to ask you, like, how do you feel about like celebrities that go and make podcasts? Like,
They don't last long.
Some of them do.
Not if they're making a fresh one right now. It's not sustainable. They don't realize the workload.
That's the thing. Like, when you are rich, you can afford to hire, like Club Shay Shay, like Shannon Sharp's new podcast. I guess it would be considered a podcast, or it's like
It's a podcast.
okay,
It's a podcast.
Like, I'm sure you've seen like when he interviewed Cat Williams and that went super viral. Like, how do you feel about like former athletes, former like, or just celebrities, rappers, etc., whoever?
Like LeBron's podcast that he like has like once every 3
But
months.
he has that with JJ Redick, and it's specifically talking about hoops. Like, it's straight like
Ball.
It's
Yeah.
very basketball oriented
But
conversation.
he had like Ice Spice on there, so it was like
oh, that's not a podcast. That's a show.
oh, that's the show.
The
Okay,
shop.
I thought it was a podcast. Okay,
yeah,
okay,
that's a show.
Okay.
But yeah, how do you feel about people like that? Like,
I mean, if they want to have a podcast, let them have a podcast. Like, I'm not, you know, who
Yeah,
cares?
podcast police.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
do you like any? Like, who are some of your favorites?
I'll listen to. I'm more guest based. I can't listen to someone just talk about their life. Oh, it's got to be guest based. I'll click on a podcast. I'll listen to like Jay Shetty. I'll listen to Rogan. I'll listen to Call Her Daddy if it's guest based. You know, if there's some knowledge. That's why I think people go to episodes where it's less banter and more like knowledge based on how you grow. What value are you bringing the listener? You know, what's the value? So in your case, you guys could be bringing the value of perspective on hot topics. Right. I think that's the direction you go in.
And in our defense, you know, because you're always bringing mad people to the pod, but it's like, but that is why we want to, because it's like, yeah, like everybody's accustomed to us for me, Malik, JP, and K, and hearing our perspective and what we have to say. But I do like, that's why we try to have guests every episode, you know, like.
I get it. It's a lot, man.
It is a lot.
And it dilutes the quality.
Yeah.
It's like, what are y'all
does.
doing?
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. Like, imagine just toning it down, having a few you guys better, you know, add some different camera angles and really, you know, flex it out. Because you remember the audience has to adapt to a fresh new person every time.
Right.
Which is why I say the best episodes are when it's just us, like low key. Like,
I
I don't
just us.
like 426. Like, I've kind of always said that. It's like the guests are cool, but it's like the dynamic.
I
that
disagree with that.
Okay.
I think
because people already know
the
us.
episodes with 426 plus a guest are the best. Like,
Sure.
some of my personal favorites. The one was speaking of Star and Nicole.
We did a lot of talking over each other.
We
on
did,
that, yeah.
but like there was a lot of like we got to the nitty gritty. I feel like
Sure, but
The
that
one with
episode was
Ivory
also
and
2 hours
Voyage.
long.
Okay, I mean people liked it.
Okay.
You know,
The one with Asia and
I feel like people didn't like that.
They didn't
one.
like
yeah,
that one?
I don't know. But yeah, streets were saying.
But
yeah.
if it's 4 you guys plus, when there's 5 people, it's just, I don't know, it's just a lot. you
I
know?
hear what he's saying, and I totally agree. I just feel like because people already know us, they know our personality, they know what they're getting, and like what he kind of said, it's like with a new person, it's like not who the fuck is this, but it's just like they already know JP, they already know you. It's like, okay, probably going to say some dumb shit. VJ's going to go off the rails and go viral. JP's going to be over here stuttering. Like, you know, and Malik's is going to be calling bitches. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know what you're coming here for when it's us.
But that's the beauty in it. You know what you're getting with us, and
So,
really,
but
I think
if it's not broke,
I
don't,
think
like,
the
you know,
main
if it's
thing
broke, don't
is,
fix it.
I think the main thing is if we're gonna have guests on top of us, we just need to shut up. sometimes and let them talk.
Yeah.
Like
Alright.
that's essentially what you're saying. Like it's
Well, and-
it's a
yeah.
lot because like it gets diluted because it's a whole bunch of people.
Yeah,
you
and
know.
pick guests that I would avoid people. It's their first ever podcast where they're
Yeah.
nervous and they don't know what it's going to be asked. Until you get to that level where you could control the room in the interview.
Gotcha.
Kind of like the Breakfast Club, because it's usually just mostly them, and then they would bring like a celebrity guest like once in a while.
Well,
But
the Breakfast Club is like interviews. I don't think we do interviews. It's a conversation. Like, I want him to talk about himself a little bit.
Interviewing
but
him
I don't want to
first.
do it super formal. Like, so where did you grow up?
That's
bro?
what
Like,
we're doing the first
that's
10
what you-
minutes.
No, I was asking
You
him.
literally said introduce yourself.
Introduce yourself, but like at the same time,
Oh,
Um,
chat.
like at the same time, like we haven't been, it's not interview format. It's open discussion. You know what I mean? Because it's a table discussion. And I feel like if we're going to do interviews, then it's going to be a very different show. But
Maybe
you know,
that's the
whatever.
direction you need to go in. Maybe that, like we were talking about, that in the world of standing out, maybe you need to do that. But what's the value you're giving to people now?
right.
That's a question you got to ask yourself.
Right. Well, that's all another reason like I try to pick topics based on like our guests. So I feel like this is something that like connects with you.
No, this is you guys are handling yourselves very well this episode. No, I'm serious. Like, you guys are doing good. It's a good
This is our
conversation.
consultant.
But maybe also your episodes are too long. Like sometimes you guys are all over the place for an hour and a half. Right. Keep it to an hour. There's just no need, just like,
Yeah, it's like that
an
SpongeBob
hour.
scene.
Focus on your topics. Every week I would go in thinking, what's the best topic we could debate about, and I would do that. If this was my show with this many people, I would pick one hot topic every week.
We need you.
And the thumbnail is, say, Kendrick versus Drake is a perfect example. Thumbnail, I would have been Kendrick versus Drake, whatever. Title is your debate topic, and the whole episode is you guys debating it. And keep it 45 minutes to an hour. This one is about influencers. That's your subject. You have one subject. That's what we've been debating this whole time. Boom, thumbnail, title, done. That should be it. And you'll never run out of stuff because there's always going to be a hot topic. And I would debate. I would time it so whatever was the hot topic that week to pick up on SEO, that's what you're putting out that week. So if something happened, you guys reflect on whatever happened last week, and then your next week's episode is what that was. So it's still fresh.
So I have two questions, right? So it's how fast is the turn? Like, how fast do you think you need to get out a hot topic before it's no longer relevant? And I'll ask the second question once you answer the first
I would say
question.
a week. I would say keep it within a week. Well, why not? What's the point of sitting on things? I would just do it, record it, say, hey, this is what the topic for the week in a group text, and let's dive into it. And you don't even need to worry about guests or hunting people down. You just go, you get fired up, and you do it. And you guys each have 4 different perspectives. You guys are 4 different people. So you guys each challenge your thoughts. Like maybe you go around the table, because you guys call it the Slandering Table, and you each give your thought, and then you debate it, and then, I think that would be cool. Because then a perfect clip is you say one thing, and then he says another thing, and then that's a debate, I think that could be the winning formula.
Right.
I want my cut if it blows up.
Yeah, I better double down.
Yeah.
And the second question is, would you consider yourself a celebrity at this point?
I mean, some people do. I don't let it get it to my head. I feel like I was more cocky when I was owning Tuxedos, booking the big acts. But now I'm way more humbler. I mean, you guys see me when you come in. I'm always doing the stuff. I mean, unless I only I have a staff member, because I don't want to be here on certain nights and do certain things and deal with people. But for the most part, I'm here all the time working. I edit my own podcast, just like Jet does for you guys. I edit it. I do the clips. I do the postings. I'm very hands-on. You have to be. You can't pass it on to someone else. And I'm always here. I'm doing the work, and that's what it is. And my schedule is just like so jam-packed, and I'm doing interviews. I did an interview today while, taking in deliveries for stuff we ordered and fixing stuff and all of that.
So it's a job, though. But is it what you like? So, right? It's like the fact that it's become so taxing. It's like, would you It's like, wouldn't you want to not pass it off to somebody else, but just like make your workload easier?
So what I'm doing now is like I'm dividing where I could just focus on my podcast and be the talent for that, because I was getting overwhelmed where I was doing client work and doing mine. So I started to not love it anymore.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's
so
like,
now I'm divvying up client work with someone I hired, so I could focus on clients that are, paying me and need my expertise on it, and I focus on that and do that, but then also bouncing work off of him. Like, I don't want to be here filming for people anymore, which is why I have him. He takes that away from me. And there's other obligations in my life that I'm backing away from just so I can focus on what I'm doing, because now I don't need to. Like, I feel like when someone has their foot on your neck because you're pressed about money or anything like that, you make a lot of hasty decisions, and you're always stressed and whatnot. And now that's starting to alleviate, so I'm in a better spot where I could say no and value your time. Like, you guys love these Friday night recordings.
I hate them.
Yeah. Like,
first of all, no, I don't. First of all.
No, I'm just that is something like you weigh it, weigh what the pros and cons. Like, that's something that I wouldn't be here if you guys didn't ask to do the interview.
Neither would I.
Yeah. Like,
trust me.
And I also would, if I didn't have Matt to who's willing to do it on Friday nights, and I would never agree to it, But
right.
it's that type of thing where you kind of learn as you go, and I'm learning that. Like, I'm scheduling around me and prioritizing that.
Okay. Well, our time is coming to a close because we're trying to make this one shorter.
Watch this be your most watched episode.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm just saying an hour I feel like is fair.
We usually try to keep it to an hour. We have some over.
There has never been an episode.
I can go back on the YouTube, bro.
Jet. Jet, no.
Put some money on it.
Don't put no money. Don't put no money. Yeah, he's gonna find an episode. Trust me.
He's gonna trim it on YouTube. Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't know if it's needed.
I 100% agree. It's just sometimes we'll be in the natural flow of a conversation, and I'm like, oh, this is getting good. I don't want to cut it out, but we do primarily try to keep it under an hour. An hour max.
Because usually we do have 3 questions, maybe 2, but sometimes we'll linger too long.
I think less
one
topics
question.
is probably less topics.
I just think one awesome topic.
Yeah.
One hot topic.
Well, the another thing is we're not super topical. I don't think that's our focus. Whereas I feel like the Joe Budden podcast, they're a very topical podcast. They meet up twice a week, talk about what happened in the news, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like we are topical sometimes, but then sometimes we're just talking about a general idea.
We be doing spinoffs and stuff like that, talking about Helen Keller. We're not even supposed to even talk about Helen Keller.
The conversation goes left a lot of the time.
But it's entertaining too, because it's just
I
talking
think
about the one topic. But
there's different formulas to it. I hear what you're saying, and I definitely do think we need to implement some stuff, but also I feel like we have a good bag right now. I feel like part of our charm is that we're all over the place. The general topic could be about chaos. Kendrick and the general topic could be about Kendrick and Drake, but then we could go into Kayshawn's bestiality thing and him fucking turtles and but on that note, to all the content creators and aspiring content creators,
I like him, man. I like him.
Okay. To all the aspiring content creators, if you don't necessarily have a talent, some of you I respect a little less because you don't. But if you don't necessarily have a definitive talent, do the work. Like he's saying, you got to do the work. Yeah, put the work in and be consistent and find what you're good at and what you excel at and just double down on it. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know if you got any.
Shout out to the Slandering boys.
Yeah. Yes, shout out to Ian Bick for coming through. We appreciate you. Give him a round of applause. Coffee beaty's clapping somewhere.
In spirit.
Is that why he walked off the first time?
No,
that
was
was Malik.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is a new walk off.
Oh,
Yeah,
this was a new walk.
yeah, new walk off.
Oh,
Malik
okay.
walked off last time because we were talking about America, and it
Yeah,
got
it's
heated.
just you and me left.
Yeah.
Never walked off.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, do you have any words of encouragement for the young influencers or content creators out there, specifically if you have a podcast?
When you're doing a podcast, just never walk off. No, consistency. Consistency is everything. If you're gonna, do it, just stay consistent, and that's what I've never missed a day posting since I started.
Every day you post.
Every day.
Multiple times.
As you grow, you can scale back. But when I first started, it was 3 to 6 times a day on every platform. Now I just post once.
Fear a man that learns one move 100 times over a man that knows 100 moves.
Yeah. Well said.
That is well said. Look at that, JP, profound JP. I like this
Put
one.
out the fire.
Yeah.
Prophonic.
On that note, we appreciate y'all tapping in. Ian, thank you for coming, and we will catch you on the next episode. See you later. Subscribe.
They say that I'm crazy. Thoughts wild, losing all control. Keep saying I'm crazy. My demons trying to take my soul. Maybe I'm crazy. My mind's having episodes.